Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are all doing well. It's been a really lovely week this week. I haven't got a ton of footage that I'm sharing with you, but every now and again I'm like, yeah, let me pick up the camera. It's funny because every Sunday when the video goes out, I think, like as soon as you put the video out, Claire, pick the camera up and film, like just film daily stuff. And then suddenly it's Monday and I haven't, and then suddenly it's Wednesday. So yeah, this week I was quite good and I did bring the camera out with us. Last Sunday we went to Wicksteeds Park. Oh, it was beautiful. The weather here has turned so beautiful. We had a real cold snap, you'll know. The last few videos, I swear all I said was, it's freezing, it's so cold. But actually once the storm passed, we had a big storm, once that passed, the grey skies did linger for a couple days, but then after that we have had nothing but blue sky and pure sunshine for about 4 days straight, and it has been, honestly, you don't realise how much you miss the sun until it comes back. Now I have always been I hate the summer. I like the summer as long as it doesn't get above 20 degrees, 23 degrees max. Last summer before, you know, when we're hitting the 30s and the summer before we hit 40 degrees, absolutely not. I do not like that heat. And then there's something magical about September when we go into autumn. And I've said it before, and there are a lot of people who make autumn their entire personality. I might be one of them. But also, I have to say, since moving here and having this garden and having this view, I am craving spring. I can wait and I will wait, but I'm excited for spring. I'm excited to see all of the trees come back to life. We never had trees where we lived before. Never had any trees. Our next door neighbour had 2 trees, but they weren't, it's not like this. It's not like this. This is our view. So all of these trees that have shed their leaves in the autumn and the winter, they're gonna be coming back. In the next few months, we're gonna start seeing buds. Our apple tree is gonna come back to life. And of course we had that all trimmed back. We got a tree surgeon to come and really just climb up the tree and trim it all back, and also trimmed all the hedges and did all of the things. This is like a new excitement for me. This is not a feeling I've never reached, like February, March, excited for spring, because where we lived before, everything was concrete and we weren't surrounded by the nature that we're surrounded by now. So now I'm truly appreciating everything. And yeah, again, I can wait. I don't want to wish time away, but I'm excited for spring. The birds are insane right now. Now, if you were with me, like I think soon after we moved in, Tim bought me a bird watching book. I just couldn't believe the amount of birds. Like, again, where we lived before, magpies, that was it. Pigeons and magpies. Whereas here, we're getting all of the little birds. We've got goldfinch and we've got tons of robins right now. Our garden is swamped with robins right now, and also sparrows. I haven't seen a sparrow in all the time we've lived here, but this past 2 weeks we have been getting the sparrows, which I'm so excited for. And just listening to them every morning, like from like 4 AM, they start with the old yabbity yap. Like as soon as they can wake up, they're waking up. And I'm finding it a very, very magical time. And I've never felt this way about February, March. Never. I've always just been like, ugh. But seeing all of the birds and just, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's also the sun though. The sun makes me feel good. And it's also freezing cold. Here we go again, Claire. It is that kind of winter weather where you still have to wrap up warm, you still have to put your hat on and your scarf on when you go out, but then the sky is so blue that everything just feels crisp and clean and fresh and gorgeous, gorgeous. The one thing I totally forgot to mention in the last vlog is that I started knitting. I know, I started knitting, and I've learned one thing about myself, especially since moving here. I would say in the last 6 months, since moving, I have learned one thing about myself, and that is that I will get absolutely chronically obsessed with something. Now, I am neurotypical, I'm not neurodivergent. The last time I said something like this, I got messages saying, oh, you must have this, you must have ADHD. I don't have ADHD. That is something you have from birth, and it's not something I've ever had. I don't fit the criteria, but I think it's a combination of midlife. It's a combination of midlifing, perimenopause, the anxiety that comes with the perimenopause, all of the things that surround you when you're mid-40. I'm going to be 48 this year, so all of those things that happen in life around about this age, where you start going into the, God, that sounds depressing, the second half of your life. I get much more obsessional now than I have before. And would I say obsessional, or would I say distraction? I've said it before, it's like a paralysis. Almost like a paralysis, where things outside of your mind are so stressful. And I mean, I'm talking at the moment about global issues right now. Before, I noticed it just as we were moving house. The stress of moving house, all the viewings, the packing, trying to organise dates, times, the forms, the letters back and forth to the solicitors, the dodgy solicitors that we had. It was such a stressful time for me that I remember fixating on watching YouTube videos of walking, just relaxing, calm walking videos of people in New England and Boston. I specifically loved walking videos of people in Boston, walking in the rain, in the pouring rain in New York, just really to totally disengage my brain and disassociate with real life. The stress that I was getting in the real world, the stress of moving house, it's all very first world. And I realised I'm doing it again. I won't get into why. I won't get into the reasons why I'm doing it again, but it has got something to do with politics and the world and what's happened since January. I get this internal rage that I can't do anything about it. There's nothing I can do. There's nothing you can do about specific situations that are occurring in the world, but you feel like you want to change, you want to do something, but you can't. You're completely powerless. So back in January, it was around about the second week of January, second week of January, I started knitting. So my new neighbor, I say my new neighbor, guys, we've been here 5 months today. 5 months today. My new neighbour, she knits. So we were chatting about knitting, and I haven't done any knitting since I was a little girl. And I said, oh, I really would love to have a go, you know, like pick up some knitting needles, and just mainly to keep me off of watching the television, to stop watching the news, to stop sitting on my phone and scrolling all night long, to have something to do in the evenings that is going to allow me to sit on the sofa, relax. And like my friend Abby from Lady Boss Stitch over on my other channel, I'm sure it was Abby that said, you know, fibre arts are the most relaxing arts. They are the kind of crafts and arts where you really can be in your own space. You can have a cup of tea, have your snacks if you want, you know, you can watch a film or put on Netflix, any kind of distraction from what's going on in the real world. So I took myself into town back in January, and we have a gorgeous shop here that specialises in all things knitting. So my neighbour said she'd teach me, but then equally I kind of wanted to quickly learn. Like I wanted to go on YouTube and watch a couple of videos. Again, I knitted when I was a little girl, but I just needed to know how to get the first row on the knitting needle. I walked into the knitting shop and she was so lovely, and I was like, I'd like to learn to knit and I don't know what I'm doing. And she said, oh, what do you want to knit? And I was like, a scarf. I'm gonna knit a scarf. So she said, okay, well, this is, you know, she taught me all about the needles and what the numbers mean and how the numbers on the needles have to correspond to the wool. So she took me to the back where all of the wool is. Don't quote me on this, but I think I'm right in saying that in the UK we call them wool. I've always called it wool. So I picked 3 balls of wool, all the same colour, all matching, because that's the colour I want my scarf. And I think in other countries you call it yarn. Do we call it yarn in the UK? Because I'm not a knitter. So if you're a knitter, let me know in the comment section, do we call it yarn? I call it wool. So she said, right, these are the wool choices. You've got your thicker, really fat, chunky wool, like this fat. So I picked the wool that I wanted. She gave me the corresponding knitting needles. I came home that day, I watched a YouTube tutorial and I saw how to put the first row on the knitting needle. And I've been knitting ever since. There was a couple of days where I didn't, but then most evenings now I will sit with my knitting on my lap in the living room. George is asleep next to me, and I'm telling you something else. Just not having the news on. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, but then I wanna know. I wanna know what's been said next. What's been done now? Oh, more breaking news. What's happening today? Oh, they've done that, have they? Instead of being like in that mindset, I've just switched off completely. And I think this is very similar to when I experience any level of stress. Now this is a different stress to moving, of course. It's a completely different stress. But of course, this is a stress that is currently going on in the world for many people. And again, there's nothing I can do about it. So I am basically taking myself away from as much as I can to not absorb all of the information. Tim, honestly, he can wake up in the morning. He can wake up in the morning, put the news on, and watch news all day long, and it doesn't impact him. It doesn't affect him like it does me. He doesn't take it on. He doesn't absorb it. I can watch the news for 1 hour and I'm raging. I am like effing and blinding, and then I need to Google this, and did he really say that? Did that really happen? And then I go and I find out it's all true. So it needs to stop. I can't get myself into this mindset. So after that huge essay, I've started knitting and I am loving it. I've gone through my first entire ball of wool, and then I went out last week. I went out into town with my neighbour. We took the dogs for a walk. We went for lunch and then we walked around the town. And she told me she would help me attach the next ball of wool, because I've got 3 balls of wool. I think I might need more because I like a big, hunky, fat, chunky scarf. So she said, oh, when we get back, she's going to pop into mine and she's going to show me how to attach the next ball of wool. So she did that, and now I'm on my second ball of wool, and let me get it for you. This is the wool that I went for. I don't know, it's looking quite red on camera, but it's actually a deep burgundy, like a really gorgeous burgundy, and it's it's proper my colour, right up my street. As soon as I saw it there, I was like, yes, this is the one. So this is the wool that I went for. It is currently attached to my knitting, and my biggest fear is that I'm just going to drop stitches all over the place. I've already dropped 2 stitches. There's like 2 huge holes. When did that happen? Were you there? I wasn't there. That happened with me not even being in the room. And this is my scarf. This is what we are looking like. Hold on, let me spread it out. Ooh. Guys, I'm so proud of myself. Oh, don't get tangled. So proud of myself. You will see the holes. This is what I've knitted so far. Hold on. There's more. There's more. This is my scarf. I absolutely love it, and I don't think I've done a bad job, but look at this. Look, there's a huge hole here. My neighbour said she'll help me yarn that in. Yarn it? Darn it. Fix it. She's got to help me fix it. So yeah, when you hold it up, you can see this huge hole. I'm like, how did that happen? I don't remember. Oh, careful. There we go. I don't remember dropping stitches, but this is what we're looking like. This is what it's going to look like wrapped around me when it's done. Only I'm hoping it's going to be about 5 times as long as this. This is 1 ball of wool. Hold on, where are we? Yeah, this is 1 ball of wool. And then the second ball of wool was attached here. So this is now the second ball of wool. But I'm loving it, guys. It is such a distraction from the world right now, which is the cray kind of time, but such a distraction. I'm absolutely, yeah, really happy. And then in the evenings, I will literally just escape, that's the word, escape into knitting. The other thing I've been doing is binge watching. So in the last video, I mentioned that I'm escaping the world by watching reruns of Schitt's Creek. It's just so funny and classic. It's such a cult, iconic series on Netflix. So Tim and myself spent our evenings watching Schitt's Creek again for like the 3rd time, and it's amazing how much you miss when you watch it that many times. But Schitt's Creek is such a fast-paced, every episode's only 25 minutes long, 30 minutes. So we got through it in no time at all, and then suddenly it's over again. I found myself crying again, because when Schitt's Creek ended, oh boy did I cry when they all, anyway, I won't spoil it, but that last episode when they, you know, their destiny was decided, oh boy. Anyway, after that is when I really got stuck into the knitting. I was like, okay, Schitt's Creek is over. There's nothing else I want to watch. I will go hard into knitting and put my headphones on and listen to relaxation spa music on YouTube. So I'll put my headphones on because Tim will still be sitting there watching the news. I'll put my headphones on. I'll listen to relaxation, like Zen spa music. It's beautiful stuff. And then I'll just knit, and I'll knit for about an hour. I'm not very fast at all. I'll only do about 10 lines. It takes me about anywhere between 3 and 5 minutes per line. I'm so slow at the moment, but I'm hyper focused. That's it. I'm hyper focused because I don't want to drop a stitch. And then I'll put it to one side for the rest of the evening. But yeah, at the moment we're back on Orange is the New Black. And guys, I thought, right, what else can I watch that is gonna stop me hearing this continuous bombardment of bad news right now and the craziness that's happening. And I thought, let me press play on Orange is the New Black, because I loved that when it first came out, thinking, yeah, this was funny. This is going to keep me happy. Guys, it's so depressing. I'm watching it for the 2nd time, right? It's nowhere near as funny as I remember it the first time around. I feel like I'm incarcerated with them this time around. Having said that, I'm already on season 3. So yeah, my evenings are being spent in a almost procrastination paralysis dissociation, distraction. That's where I am right now. And in between all of that, I'll do a bit of hoovering, I'll put some washing on. But yeah, anyway, that's like 3 hours of me telling you what's going on in my head right now and how I'm dealing with the world around me. But I hope you are all doing well, and I hope that if you are also feeling a little bit discombobulated, a little bit dysregulated, and a lot stressed and potentially incredibly low with world affairs right now. Again, I'm not getting into it on here, but if you are in any way impacted in a negative way by what is happening in the world right now, just know that it's temporary. It really is temporary. It might be it might be 4 years of temporary, or with any luck just a couple more months, and all will be okay. All will be okay. It has to be okay. But just see it as a temporary blip in this matrix of crazy. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. So the week started off really grey and overcast and gloomy and just cold and wet and all of the things. And I truly wasn't loving it. I felt really like claustrophobic and housebound because it was horrific weather following on from the storm. But this particular day we decided to get out of the house and take a gorgeous long walk around Wicksteeds Park. If you do not know Wicksteeds Park, I highly recommend it. It is such a magnificent space. George absolutely loves his freedom when we come here, but in the summer and the spring is when it truly comes alive. There's a huge permanent fairground rides, there's a big wheel, there's a train going around the whole park, there's all of the things. But yeah, in the summer this place gets absolutely packed. But if you want to come for a Sunday stroll, it is absolutely beautiful. The seagulls, oh my goodness. This particular day, I think it was not long after the floods, so sometimes when it rains in this area, all of the water literally runs down the river and straight into this park, and sometimes this park does get completely flooded out around the water area, so many birds. Guys, I did wonder why I could hear seagulls, because where we live, we are the most inland area of the UK. Like, we are the furthest county from any coastal region in the whole of the UK. So I was like, tell me why I can hear seagulls. And it wasn't until this day the entire pond of Wicksteeds Park was just filled with an abundance of seagulls that had obviously found their new home inland, and I guess live off of scraps. But yeah, they've got a gorgeous coffee shop. We stopped and we had tea and we had cakes, and I got this gorgeous granola bar and Tim got this like Biscoff chocolate bar. I'm telling you, lovely. And this tree is right by the cafe and the Ferris wheel, and it is honestly the most gnarly tree I think I've ever seen. It's like a tree out of a horror film. Do you know, like something like The Crows? It's literally got the most twisted, spooky branches and twigs, but wow, what a stunning tree. You would have seen this in one of my autumn vlogs when it was alive with orange and brown. Okay, I've put the SD card in here. It's not the right SD card. It doesn't have the teeny tiny one that goes inside the bigger one. It's just an SD card, but I have found an SD card reader that I got when I bought my camera. So I'm just going to put it in. I've put it in. I'm going to go back and set it up. Today is freezing cold, but it's sunny blue skies and it's gorgeous. And I'm just about to go downtown with my neighbour. We're going to take the dogs for a walk. Look at this gorgeous day. absolutely beautiful. So anyway, yeah, we're going to take the dogs for a walk. We're going to go grab lunch at the Kino Lounge. But also, I don't know if it's everywhere, but this town is really dog friendly. Like, we've got a huge Superdrug in town, and it's dogs allowed. I would have never in a million years thought dogs would be allowed in a Superdrug. I'm trying to avoid the grass at all costs because it is a river right now. So again, I'm going to attach it here, and this is the view under the trees. It kind of like gets this view. This is where I saw the mouse running back and forth between next door's garden and our shed. Nice, George, nice. Brilliant, lovely. So yeah, this will be the view of the camera. I'm going to reattach it to this branch. Okay, there it is, attached. Hopefully that's the right angle to catch whatever's under there. So yeah, I guess we'll come back in a couple of days and check it out. Check it out, George. This is officially the worst weather when you've got a dog. The worst weather, because it's sunny, it's pretty much mild, but the garden is a swamp. So when you've got a dog and you need to clear up after the dog, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. What I would like is for it to get suddenly very, very freezing cold, and then it's really easy to clean up the garden. Right, grab my coat. Shall we go? Okay, let's go. We walked into town, up the hill, and then she brought me to this really, really high point in the town where I'd never been before. And sorry for the shaky camera, but what a view. Like, what a view. The church, everything about this day was so beautiful. I can't get over this church. Love it. George is going to be 3 this month on the 28th of February, and he's just started doing this new thing where he's like running in circles. You know, he does this kind of like zoomy in a circle just before we throw a ball for him. He has never done this before, ever. And we've been throwing the ball for nearly 3 years. Like, he's just started this month. When he gets excited, he does this like spin in a circle. And I just find it so fascinating because, like, how a dog reaches the age of 3 and then suddenly starts doing new things, I find it absolutely fascinating. Of course, that is a dog innate behaviour, but George has never done it, in the same way that he's never ever dug holes in the garden. And like a couple of months ago, he started digging holes in the garden. So yeah, it's just fascinating stuff to watch him sometimes. And he makes his own games up, and oh yeah, this was a good day. I have not been to a Morrison's for about 9 years. 9 years is going to be exact, because Morrison's was my absolute go-to supermarket. Back when we lived in London, in East London, in Stratford, there was a Morrison's, and that was my go-to supermarket. So I have been so itching to get back in here and just see if it's the same. They're very well known for their deli foods. Like, they've got a huge deli, like a delicatessen here. And I always used to love going in and getting like fresh salads and fresh pastas. It wasn't open on this day though. Like, everything was like covered over with material. So I don't know if this Morrison's still has an open delicatessen where you can actually just help yourself to things. I did pick up this cherry pie, however. I got a gorgeous, gorgeous Morello cherry pie, but sadly there was more pastry than there was pie filling. But the fresh cakes looked absolutely, yes please, custard tarts. Who doesn't love a custard tart? The meat, I have to say, the shelves felt a bit bare when you compare it to other supermarkets like Lidl, Aldi, Tesco's, Asda. The shelves to me in this supermarket just felt a little bit bare. But this particular day we did pick up a couple of steaks. For a big rump steak, it was yeah, 2 for $8. I didn't think that was a bad price at all. Quite cheap. You could get more expensive steaks here, with like bigger and fatter, but we didn't need much bigger steaks. I just had to look through and find like the nicest possible ones. And then when we went home, Tim cooked them with some potato and chorizo, and it was all very, very yummy. But yeah, I didn't particularly fall in love. I've missed Morrison's, and I've had nothing but positive memories from a Morrison's, but this one just felt sparse, and it was so big. The aisles were so massive. I just felt like they could fit so much more in to the space. This was actually Burns night. We were looking for haggis, but they didn't have any at all. We did ask one of the employees, and they said, "Oh, you're the third person to ask us today for haggis." I said yes, because it's Burns night and we're last minute. Like, we're coming out very last minute on Burns night to see if we can find haggis, and we couldn't find it anywhere. We went here, and then we went to two more butchers who didn't have it, and then we really just didn't want to drive around the whole town to all of the supermarkets to see if we could find it. But yeah, we just had a look round. We had a look at all of the dog toys. Nothing really here. We got him another pig. It was like a bright neon pink pig, and not this one. He's already got this one from another supermarket. But yeah, he had it chewed open within half an hour of being home, because it was a hard kind of plastic. He chewed it open. Morning, guys. Today I've come into town. There's nothing that's going to make you feel better, nothing, than, I wasn't feeling rough though, I was feeling fine, but there's nothing that's going to make you feel better than a everything shower. I had an absolutely everything shower this morning. Everything shower. And it just, wow, just wow, makes me feel so good. I have decided to buy, has anyone heard of Wild? It's like an organic, reusable, no waste deodorant, and you basically get the casings for it, and then you just buy inserts, just buy replacement fillers. I've decided to buy some because I've been seeing it literally all over YouTube, and they sell really interesting scents. Like the one I'm buying today is sea salt with something, and they also sell it in like patchouli, right up my street. And you can't get those kind of smells in generic on the shelf deodorants. Now my go-to deodorant is Dove. Swear by Dove soap, Dove deodorant, sorted. But I saw an advert the other day for it, and I was like, oh, I need to try it. I want to try it. Now I'm going into Boots Chemist as well to pick up some bits. I did a click and collect from Boots, so I figured let me order it online and collect it when I go into town on Friday to get other bits as well, just in case they didn't have it on the shelf at the time. I just wanted to be, I didn't want to walk in there and be like, they literally don't have it. They don't have anything. So yeah, I've done a click and collect. I've ordered my Wild reusable deodorant. We'll see what it's like. I'll let you know though. Is anyone using it? Let me know if you're using it in the comment section down below. Not sponsored, just I want to try it. And what else do I need? I need a new set of tweezers, and I need some more shaving foam. Just general bits and bobs. I just need to run around and get a couple of bits and bobs. And I need some clothes washing bits and bobs as well, so I might run into B&M's while I'm here. But I've just parked up in this new car park. It's not a new car park, it's ancient, but I've never driven to this car park before, so I'm a little bit like, how do I get out of here? All the roads are still quite new to me. So I've got my bag, bag, and yeah, let's go pay for the car park and get into town. Let's go. So we have moved from a really quiet, nothing going on village type-esque place in Essex, with just an old-fashioned 70s parade of shops, to a big town. Like, whilst it's very countrified, it's a big town. And a lot of shops are closing. I guess they're going out to the outer skirts of, bigger shopping malls are being built, and people are basically leaving the high street to go out to these huge shopping malls, like Rushden Lakes and Corby. But I like it here. I really, really like it here. I get that when you see your town in decline, that it upsets your soul. But to come from somewhere where there's nothing to a place where there are actually shops, I'm loving it. Yeah, has anyone tried these Sunday whip things? But yeah, found my deodorant. They actually did have quite a lot in stock, so I didn't need to do a click and collect, but they no longer do the patchouli. So the one I bought was fresh cotton and sea salt. I was looking for the patchouli again, and when I got home I went online and they don't have it anymore. So whether that was just a one-off or whether it just wasn't popular. The hard thing for me was the cases. Like, I'd already ordered my case online, but when I went online, guys, they've got even more cases, and I think that's going to be my downfall. Like, do I want the Valentine's special with the hearts? Yes. Am I going to get it? No, I'm not. I did end up finding a couple of bits. I got myself a shower comb, so when I'm washing my hair I can actually, comb my hair through in the shower. But the tweezers, who is spending this much money on tweezers? How much do you guys pay for your tweezers? Please. Because £15. There was another pair of tweezers for $24.99. Are they electronic? Do they do the job for you? Do you just have to put them on your face and press a button and not have to put the work in? Because who is spending £25 on a pair of tweezers? Right down on the very, very, very bottom of the shelf were the ones I wanted for £2. They are good enough for me. Thank you very much. I got excited on the way out because I actually walked past a card shop and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get Tim a Valentine's card. It's the first time I can get him a husband card, legally, properly. So yeah, I picked one up there and it was very cute. And then I went into the works because Easter is coming and I'm all about those kids crafts as well, but these books caught my eye. These are the most detailed colouring books I've ever seen. There's no way. I just wouldn't. I would literally get 30 seconds in and give up. But the images were simply stunning. Really, really beautiful. And then there was this one here, Romantasy, a fantasy romance book. And yeah, all of the, I guess, dragonsy, Game of Thronesy type vibe. Oh, let me know if anyone here is into adult colouring books. But if you do not know the works, it is such a cool shop. It's got everything you could possibly want, from children's games, adults games, fiction, all of the books. And then it's got huge craft supplies. And yeah, I picked up the kids some beautiful bits for Easter. Finally, we have some night vision. Now, I'm not going to lie, I did kind of cheat. I probably shouldn't have done this because I don't want to feed vermin, but I put down some fat balls for anything that might come along and get in the camera view. And it's the exact same little mousie that has been visiting for a while. This is the same mouse that I caught on camera for the first few nights of using this camera. And I thought there were two. I never saw two in the same shot together until now. I zoomed in for you guys. Now, bear in mind, these fat balls are tiny. So these must be field mice. And there's his friend. So just two little mice. I never saw anything more than two little mice. And they were very active from around 2:30 a.m. until 4:45 in the morning. And whilst they both had a go at this fat ball all night long, honestly, the next day it looked like it had barely been touched. So yeah, they are tiny little itty bitty mices. Again, field mice most likely, but this was all of the footage. They were just in and out of our garden and next door's garden, and you can see some irritation on the screen. I have to actually screen record the footage that I got from the camera because my editing program will not accept the footage direct from the camera. It won't accept it. So I have to press play on it, screen record it on my laptop, save it, and then the editing program will accept the film. So, but it's all worth it. I mean, I cannot wait until spring and summer. We might get, I don't know, we might get badgers, foxes. I know there are badgers around here because I can see badger hills that where they've dug up the ground. But yeah, who knows? As long as they don't dig up the ground in my garden, I'll be happy. But these two little guys played for hours and hours in this one area. And then, yeah, a bird flew past. I tried to slow it down, but I couldn't quite really see what it was. This weather is perfect stew weather, and Tim has made another stew with dumplings. But yeah, don't get too close with your phones, guys, because this happens. But it was very, very yum. George is loving life. He is living his best life. He's such a cuddler. He's a cheeky little, I'm telling you, he's a sausage. Even though this is his channel and you all love him, honestly, he can be so cheeky. But when it's like evenings like this and all he wants to do is just cuddle, oh my gosh, I literally cannot get enough. This is him laying on a cushion on my lap and just being totally chilled and pampered and all of the things that we would all pay someone to do for us. The massages and just being stroked, and then he'll move his body according to where he wants your hand to be, and then he'll nudge your hand if he wants you to continue. But he doesn't fall asleep on my lap. He's never fallen asleep. Like, he will literally get what he needs and then that's it. And any second now you'll see him like, okay, enough's enough. This is not where I sleep. I usually sleep next to mummy on the sofa. As long as my leg is down, he'll lay there. If my leg's not, he'll wait until I've moved and then he'll fall asleep next to me on the sofa. But yeah, this has been our week. I hope you've enjoyed. I will see you next week. Bye.